anyways, there is another subject that has been pretty popular that I'm sure you've thought of yourself, and that is the title guardians. Now, when you think of that, what is your first thoughts on the title itself and what it could possibly mean towards the game?
My first thought was blue team. My second thought is the Forerunners or the AI the Forerunners left over.
That's definitely a good thought right there. That's what I was kind of thinking as well. Is it's going to be some sort of team or based on humanity being protectors. Now, this is where the difference is between people that dive into the lore and those that kind of stick to the multiplayer, and that's just how it is. When you multiplayer, this is what a lot of people initially thought was that the Guardians are those random things that kill you in multiplayer, and this still could be possible. You never know what way 343 wants to take this, but I just don't see that as the possibility. I don't see that as the real reason.
I'm going to throw two more things at you.
Okay?
It could be, we still know that there's other Forerunners still alive out there. We know that for sure.
Yeah.
It could be the other Forerunners returning to either help or fight against the Didact, or it could also be the Precursors, which we also know there are some still alive returning.
And that's a possibility too. And even I've posted this a while ago. I mean, a long time ago. I think it was back in last E3. Is I thought it was definitely a possibility. Like I think is the Didact survived. Is that he's going to other Shield worlds because there's more than just Requiem. He had a whole bunch set up, and you remember Onyx? I'm sure it was a Shield world that was basically for living Forerunners, but unfortunately they didn't get to populate it in time. Now, who's to say there isn't other Shield worlds out there that are populated by Forerunners? And
Well, I don't really think the Foreigners would be in the Shield worlds because the remaining ones actually left the galaxy, and if they left the galaxy, that means the Halo rings would have never affected them. But these are also the same ones that did live through the Halo array, so they they went to another galaxy, but I don't think they would actually be in the Shield worlds. They would just be like returning, and because a Didact found them by signal or something, and they're coming.
that's a possibility. Again, I can't wait to find out. But um, I absolutely believe that might be a possibility that the Didact is going to gather and reawaken other Forerunners and bring them as an army. And that's what might be our greatest threat as of yet because the Covenant, they're still in disarray. They don't know what they're doing. They're still around. There'll still be a pain, but that's about it at this point.
I think one way, if it was precursors, imagine how powerful they are. It would take all the Covenant, the elites, the Arbiters group, the Forerunners, and humanity to team up to even stand a chance.
No, probably could, unless they wanted to really fire off the Halo array again, but I don't think that's what they want to do. As the precursors, if you remember right, the Didact was only able to kill one by putting them in a time lock case or something like that, and just aged them
Millions of
millions
years.
of years in a matter of seconds. That was the only way to kill him. So that would be one incredible threat.
I think the Halo Ray could possibly kill the precursors because if you remember, the precursor technology could only be destroyed by the Halo array.
Yes.
So does that mean that the Halos could actually destroy the precursors too?
I think it could, but there's no fine tuning that thing, though. That's the problem. It destroys absolutely everything.
And that's where I think it comes back to Dr. Halsey, because Dr. Halsey, I think, is possibly smarter than any of the Forerunners were. Maybe not precursor level, but I think she's like the smartest of the humans and the Forerunners, and she could possibly make anything technologically advanced happen.
It's definitely possible. She's a very smart woman, and so doing that, and she's definitely out to take revenge. So that's
On humanity.
yeah. She was not very happy about Osmond trying to have her killed,
Or losing her arm,
or losing her arm. She'll be back. She'll have a robot arm, you would think.
like Cat.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I know she could build her own, but could the Joam Dama get her the material to build her own?
Well, that's a good question. I think she could, or I think he could. I think it's a possibility. I think she's going to have a robot arm back. So
But the way they cut it off, it's kind of gross because I'm just sitting there imagining like a bone hanging out because like the Singeli don't know how to do stuff like that and they just chopped it off badly.
yeah, yeah, that could be too. I don't know because well they don't really believe in medicine at all. So that's probably if they left her up to that. Yeah, because if you get wounded in combat, that's a dishonor.
It's like we're not going to give you any medicine, but I'm human. Who cares?
That's true. They don't know much about medicine. Sangheili are in a complete disarray right now.
The best way to describe Singeli is primitive.
Yeah, right now they're trying. They're trying to come back and see what's going to happen. See how far Admiral Hood is going to take to supporting the Arbiter, and of course Admiral Osmond trying to keep the Arbiter down. I mean, it's just so weird that they're trying to do all that stuff.
Very complicated story that you had to just sit there and look at to be able to understand it. But once you get it, you got it.
Yes. Definitely. What's the trilogy? The latest trilogy that just came out was I'm thinking Mortal Dictata. And then you had the other books right before Thursday War. What's the first book?
Glasslands,
Glasslands.
which those three continued from Ghost of Onyx.
Yes. Those will definitely explain what the UNSC is trying to do with the Arbiter and Telcam and all them. So definitely recommended reading all of those.
But as for the Forerunner trilogy, unless you really want to get into Halo lore like we do, that's the only way I suggest reading it because it is very, very hard reading.
Yeah, Greg Bear's style is just not my favorite, but I did enjoy the stories nonetheless.
Like I had to sit here on Wikipedia like a lot of these words just figure out what they were when reading it.
Yeah, he's I don't know. It's an interesting story. The way he tells it is just kind of like from a third person's perspective or something like that. It's really hard to really grasp it until you've gone through it at least once the whole way, and then it kind of starts to make sense.
It's like best way to describe it is even though there's still Star Wars, Halo is the modern day Star Wars.
Yeah, that's why I love the lore so much. It's so good, and I really feel sad for those that don't get into it. Or you probably really need to. At least the general, just read the books, read the comics. I haven't done that yet, but read the books, and that alone is just going to open up the world of possibilities. Like when I played Halo 4, there's a lot of little nods to the books that you're not going to notice. That if you read the books, you would really pick up on.
On the bright side, I think the Bad Butt Brit Modest Major is starting to read the books.
About time.
He's going to start going by that nickname now, the Bad Butt Brit.
Bad Butt Brit. That'd be good for him, actually. Bad Butt Brit. Bad Butt Brit. He doesn't know where he is it.
Away, 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 away.
Oh, that ain't right. You're getting me singing. But it's about Major, so it's okay.
We can make fun of him and he just laugh it off.
Yep, yep. All right. One kind of other thing I wanted to discuss, and that was the other picture that we saw.
What was the other picture?
The one with the sandy desert civilization where you got that small.
Oh, the one from a while back.
No, not that one. The one that was on Halo Waypoint just recently with Frank O'Connor.
Oh, wow. I just looked at it and just thought it was the same one and didn't even pay attention to it.
No, it's actually a little different.
I guess I'll have to look at it.
Well, if you got time there, what it is, I find is interesting is that it has a statue in the background. A lot of people are thinking it's a brute. I don't think it's a brute. It looks to me like a Sangheli to me. Um, so that's definitely, to me, I think that's what it looks like. And I'm thinking it's really pointing to the thought that you're going to be going to Sanghelios or something like that along the way. I mean, this could
Oh, I
be.
got it now.
Oh, you got it now? There.
Yeah.
As you can see in the bottom right-hand side, there's like a statue in the background. It looks like he has one of those short energy daggers that they used in Halo Reach. If you know what I remember, when they did an assassination, they'd pull out that dagger and assassinate you.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of looks like to me. And if you zoom in on it, it looks like it has the mandibles or the jaws of an elite. So that's why I think this could possibly be Sanghelios. And of course, they got the little figure in the bottom to establish scale and everything.
When I first saw this, I thought this was like a huge new creature that they were going to introduce. Like I thought, what is this thing? Is this going to be something you had to fight in the game that's going to be gigantic? And I started thinking about it. Well, when I took a glance at it earlier, and I thought it was just the same picture as that last one, and I just noticed that going, oh, I didn't notice that before, but it's actually a new picture now. But now that I look at it here, it what if you remember in the was it the yeah the Forerunner trilogy where they find the Forerunners are primitive in themselves because they've been away from everybody else.
Yes.
What if this was like a Singeli that was off on some distant planet, some distant place that grew up and evolved differently from the other Singeli
Well,
and became huge?
well, they have done that, but that I don't think that's the case. That they became huge or anything. I mean, they could become larger. That's possible, but they did have Sangheli that were pretty much out of the loop, as you know from Jul Madama when he went to the other planet and found those guys. I can't tell you the name right now, but that's definitely a possibility that this is another Sangheli, rather than Sanghelios itself. Could be another population, another culture.
Oh, and I noticed in the sky too, there's like little floating things.
Yes, I noticed that too.
I'm not going to tell what they look like because that would be vulgar.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I'm going to say jellyfish. I'm going to look like. So I'm going to say jellyfish. It's kind of what they look like.
Don't be immature.
I'm trying to be a little mature here. It's honestly, it's kind of what they look like. Now the question is that flood? Do you think it possibly could be a flood spore of some kind?
Yeah, you just like took the word right out of my mouth. It could be like a flood spore because we know they exist out of the galaxy still too.
That's true.
Because they did come out from another galaxy, so we know they still exist somewhere out there
And all it takes is one flood spore. That's it.
to cause an entire civilization to fall.
That's true. So I don't know. I don't know. That could be flood, or it just could be some native creature. I don't know. But it's definitely something to think about. Flood is still out there. It's still around, as we both know. It'd be kind of interesting to see them come back. I would love to see a little firefight return, and they have some flood. I think that'd be really fun.
Oh, I just noticed something in this picture. That building looks like an Arabian building in the back.
Yes, it does. Actually, the rounded tops and everything else.
Halo 5 takes place in Arabia.
It happened. I was there. Yeah, that's just something I thought that was interesting, having those in the background there. So yeah. So do you have anything else that you wanted to discuss?
Let me pull up my notes here again. Let's see. Okay, there we go. We got that one. Trying to find these ones which we've already gone through, which is most of them. The Halo TV series also releases around the same time as Halo 5.
Yeah, the Steven Spielberg one.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Steven Spielberg, well, I don't really like him because he went on out and said, video games are not art. Once you pick up the controller, it's not art anymore because you can play it. Really? Okay, that did make me mad because if video games weren't art, you wouldn't have degrees for game art. But that's a different topic. But he is good when it comes to making movies, and I think that would transition to the TV series being able to be good too. Although we know it would not feature Master Chief.
Yes, it will feature other characters. Now, whether it's going to feature Spartans, ODSTs, I mean, honestly, we don't know anything about that. I think they said that they're not going to reveal anything about that until we get closer to the release, which is another year away. But that's,
Almost a year and a half.
yeah. But I'm glad. I'm really glad that they are doing that. I would rather see 343 wait, take the time, do this right, give us a beta, and then release Halo 5. I don't want to see them rush another game like they did with Halo 4 because that's when the little things really start to add up and to be a really big thing and people just stop playing.
But to be fair, Microsoft did rush them because we do know that Halo 4 was supposed
Yes.
to release this year for the Xbox One, but last year for the Xbox One, but Microsoft rushed 343 and made them release it a year earlier for the 360 because they thought just because it was 360 and already had a fan base it would sell more,
Yes,
which it
indeed.
which it did. And that's one thing I'm glad they delayed Halo 5 to next year because that gives the Xbox One more time to build up a bigger fan base and more people owning it, which means bigger sales for Halo 5.
I think that's probably one of the best decisions that they've made in a long time. I'm really glad that they are doing that. I have not heard one person say, I want it this year. Give it to me now. And we do. We want it, but we want it right. And I think everybody's willing to wait. They're willing to take that time.